Yo, what's good? It's your boy B-Dell. I'm back with another galactic transmission. If you're new to this channel, hit the subscribe button. But today we're going to be talking about the metamorphosis of nature. It's creating a great separation on the planet that diametrically deviates the natural from the unnatural by reverting back to the original laws of the universe that eradicates the three-dimensional Luciferian Piscean energy with the cosmic vibration and the matriarchal force that's galvanized by the Aquarian Age frequency that's engineered by the Galactic Federation and the Anunnaki, right? So with all that shit being said, we finna break this shit down metaphysically, esoterically, theologically, historically, and scientifically. Because when you're looking for the truth, you got to be a motherfucking scientist. You can't be so fixated on one topic. You can't be one-dimensional. Because when you understand the dynamics of the truth, you have to internalize this information. So this is a very important video because I'm not going to give you any type of information that you cannot utilize for utility, right? So first, we're going to start off with Cern. So when you're talking about Cern, when you look at the symbology of it, the logo, it's basically an amalgamation of 6 electrons, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, which is basically the atomic structure of melanin and carbon, right? So this is the logo right here. So now when you understand the dynamics of that, like I said, your anatomy is basically the beast of the system. Your anatomy is what's going to put this system out of power because you are connected to the sun. Because like I said, the sun is separating us. It's separating the eukaryotic cell from the prokaryotic cell because you have non-ether genetical properties that connect you to the source, meaning that you have a soul because you are the progenitor of everything in the universe. That's what dark matter is. It's what created and manifested everything in the three-dimensional realm, right? So now, when you understand that process of it, when you look at the atomic structure, like I said, I'm not making this up. 6 electrons, 6 protons, 6 neutrons. That's why they demonize it in the Bible because that's the chemical makeup of the so-called black man and the black woman, right? So now, when you understand the dynamics of that, when you're talking about Anu, who was L, the heavenly one, basically he manifested through dark matter. He is basically the electromagnetic atomic structure that was manifested through nature through the carbonated energy, which is basically an amalgamation of non-elemental compounds. When you're talking about carbon, lithium, sulfur, helium, hydrogen, exon, radon, argon, and krypton, that's what created carbon and manifested everything in nature, right? So now when you're talking about the particle accelerator in CERN, CERN is basically a particle accelerator and a hadron collider that contains compacted quantum fusion energy. So what they try to do with this machine is they try to manipulate timelines by going into interdimensional and outer dimensional timelines to manipulate dark matter energy, right? Because I told you the third eye for the beast is technology. So in order for them to do this, they need this thing called the Nambian crystal. Because I told you, when they look for certain things technologically, they have to usurp the resources from a indigenous geographical landmass, right? So when you're talking about the Nambian crystal is in Nambia, Africa, right? Southwest Africa. So they went to this geographical location to usurp the Nambian crystal and use it for technological purposes to open up concentric vortex portals with the Cern machine, because the Cern machine also brings in low vibrational demonic parasitical entities and low vibrational extraterrestrials, right? So now, when you're talking about the Nambian people, this is the indigenous people of Nambia. So they went to this geographical location and took the Nambian crystal, and I'm going to show you what the Nambian crystal looks like. The Nambian crystal is right here. So I'm not making this up. So you talk about the ancient Nambian gemstone holds the key to the future of quantum computers. So they trying to manipulate timelines. They trying to infiltrate multi-dimensional portals and interdimensional portals, right? In parallel universes. So the reason they want to use this, they trying to manipulate the timeline because they trying to look for immortality. So now when you look at, this is basically an emulation of what it looks like, the Cern machine, right? So now, when you're talking about the Cern machine, They want to infiltrate these portals because, first of all, they're looking for divine immortality because they know that the atomic structure of dark matter, which is melanin and carbon, is the key to immortality for the people who have six ether genetical properties, which is basically genetic splicing of eukaryotic cells, the people who are not natural to the planet, right? So this is basically comprised of your Asian, Caucasian, and your East Indian, which is basically the personification of six ether genetics. So now when you understand the dynamics of that, everything is basically genetical self-preservation. That's what this whole thing is basically about. They want to usurp the dark matter resource, the God particle that created everything in the universe. They want to usurp that and use it for immortality for a certain demographic of people, right? So now when you understand the reality of that, it says right here verbatim, as white births diminish and white deaths increase, that means they're dying more than they being born. So they want to establish power on this planet because they've lost their power due to unnatural ways of living. This is a Luciferian government that was propagated by the Piscean energy for 6,000 years, right? So since their 6,000 year verification period is up, now they're trying to preserve the power through immortality by manipulating timelines, right? So now when you understand the dynamics of the Cern machine, the Cern machine is just not so predicated upon genetical self-preservation, because this is also the age of Aquarius. This is the age of information. So what they're gonna utilize for it, they're gonna have these low vibrational entities, these low vibrational demonic extraterrestrials. They're gonna basically take upon the anatomy of people who are vibrating at a low frequency. So some of the people that was awakened during the age of Aquarius that we living in right now, some of them going to be rocked back to sleep. So that's how you know that they're using this as a form of to keep you locked into an artificial meta simulation of reality, to keep you acclimated to a time loop, to stagnate your spiritual ascension, because this is the age of Aquarius. This is the age of the Great Awakening, which is the precursor to great separation. Because when you break down the etymology of the word Cern in Latin, it means to separate. So now, when you understand the dynamics of that, right? And I was doing some very extensive research when a friend of mine, he brought this to my attention. Now, this also contains to the coral reefs. So everything in this system is unnatural. They create unnatural ways of living that usurps the genetics of people who are natural to the planet, so they can preserve their power on the planet. Now, these coral reefs basically creates clouds to control climate change, because in the age of Aquarius, the planet is getting rid of the oxidation atmosphere and is reverting back to a hydrogen-based and carbon-based atmosphere. So that's only conducive to the atomical structure of the melanated people, the people who have carbon coating on their skin, the people who are natural to the planet, right? So now when you look at it from that perspective, now I'm going to show you this video. It's going to show you how they're creating genetically modified coral reefs in the oceans, right? They're creating genetically modified coral reefs in the oceans to oxidize the atmosphere. Now, this is off the coast of Florida. See that? Look at these coral reef farms. These are genetically modified coral reefs. Because I told you, the coral reefs is what creates oxidation. Oxidation is only conducive to everything that's unnatural. It's not conducive to everything that's natural to the planet, right? So now, when you look at it from that perspective, right? like I said, the coral reefs, the reason they create and genetically modify coral reefs is because you got these starfish. You got starfish killing off and decimating entire coral reefs, and they don't understand the reasons. That's because the starfish has the same genetical properties as so-called Black people. Because when you kill a starfish, it's able to regenerate. In order to regenerate, you have to have immortalized cell lines. When you have immortalized cell lines, that means that you're acclimated to the chemical makeup of the sun, carbon and hydrogen, right? Which makes up the carbonated neuromelanated body, like I said. Because, you know, when you understand the metaphysical atomic structure of so-called Black people, we made up of 95% stardust, as above, so below, right? So now, like I said, starfish are able to regenerate, right? They're able to regenerate. And I told you, this is also, you know, only conducive to, this is why they use coral reefs, because it causes oxidation. Because oxidation is not, you know, it destroys the hemoglobin cellular structure. It steals the electrons from the iron-based blood. Because this is why, you know, in the beginning of time, when this was a hydrogen-based planet, because you're supposed to be drinking hydrogen water. That's where the word hydration comes from, hydrogen-based water. You're not supposed to be drinking H2O because it breaks down the hemoglobin, because the hemoglobin is encapsulated by gold. And the sun is a big ball of energy, which is basically a superconductor of gold. So when Anunnaki came down here, you know, in the beginning of time, a lot of these beings, they had magnesium-based blood and they had gold-based blood. Because when you look at the periodical nomenclature of the word gold, AU, that is basically the symbology of aura. AU is short for aura. It's your biological electromagnetic field that connects you to the frequency of the planet, meaning that you harmonize with nature, right? So now when you, because gold in itself doesn't oxidize, it's an intrinsic metal. It doesn't, you know, depreciate. So iron basically does, because it starts to rust over time, which causes the aging process in the three-dimensional world, right? So now when you look at the hemoglobin structure, like I said, it breaks down through oxidation, because oxygen is not conducive to the carbonated body. Because when you understand the inception of, you know, creation, how everything, you know, started with the cult of Edom and the society of Jesus and things of that nature, the God of the Bible, who was basically Lucifer, he separated the intergalactic waters from the third dimension because he's the Prince of Air. So when you have the Prince of Air, you have oxidation. Oxidation keeps you locked into an artificial time loop to where you start to age through time. So now, like I said, the planet is terraforming back into a hydrogen carbonated based state that's only acclimated to a certain group of people, right? So like I said, man, this is going to be, you know, unlock the metaphysical prophetic events of the 144,000, right? Because your DNA is acclimated to the sun. Like I said, this is the age of Aquarius. The sun is separating us, right? So now, where we at? Yeah, that's like I said, you know, everything is predicated upon genetical self-preservation. So now, like I said, I'm gonna show you the proof in the pudding when they put it on these television networking systems.
For white life.
On behalf of all the MAGA patriots in America, I want to thank you for the historic victory for white life in the Supreme Court. White life in the Supreme Court. For white life in the Supreme Court. Yesterday.
There you have it.
I told you, you know what I'm saying? Everything is really about them preserving their power through genetical self-preservation. Like I said, this is how they try to manipulate timelines, because like I said, they're dying more than they being born. So they're afraid of, you know, the neuromelanated people rising up again, right? So now, when you look at it from that perspective, right, this is also, you know, synonymous to the fact that, you know, this is basically in alignment to the fact that, you know, everything is predicated upon a Hegelian dialectic principle, where they create, you know, a problem, and then they have a fear-based reaction, and they have a solution that's basically diabolical, that's only conducive to their agenda, right? So let me get this screen share and everything going again. So now, when you're talking about, let's see. So now when you're talking about everything unnatural to the planet is dying off, right? Like I said, you had the heat waves. You know what I'm saying? You got these heat waves killing off unnatural animals. So, you know, a lot of these cows, a lot of these sheep, a lot of these, you know, genetically modified, you know, production companies, a lot of them, you know, they getting burned up, and a lot of them is killing off these animals because they're not natural to the planet. You cannot clone, you know, things that is not natural. You cannot make people conform and coerce them into a dietary system that's not natural. Because like I told you, you got a natural people, you got natural people living in an unnatural system, because that's what a Luciferian government is. It goes against nature. So if you're going against nature, you're going against God, right? You follow a dietary system of people, you know, they make a goddamn food pyramid, but they ain't never built a pyramid in their life. So what makes you think I'm gonna follow your dietary system on a food pyramid? Get the fuck out of here. Like I told you, you got, you know, food processing plants burning the fuck up all over the United States, right? Because like I said, they got to get rid of everything that's unnatural, because you cannot acclimate unnatural things under a matriarchal, matrilineal system that's governed by a republic, because everything unnatural came from a democratic, Luciferian, liberalistic agenda that's connected to the dark priesthood of the Vatican Church and the conglomerate corporations on Wall Street. Because your destruction, your dehumanization, your economic disenfranchisement is what gives power to the matrix, right? So now, when you look at it from there, then you got food farms. You got food farms, heat waves killing off these animals. So I'm going to show you a video. It's killing off everything unnatural to the planet. You know what I'm saying? Clone animals just dropping dead. You see what I'm saying? Everything unnatural on this planet got to go. And they know this. They know that for a fact. Everything unnatural has to go. You see what I'm saying? Everything unnatural to the system has to go. So now when you look at it from there, you got that going. So like I said, everything unnatural. And this goes for, you know, unnatural theological principles, because you got people who conform to unnatural medicines, right? You got people who conform to unnatural man-made medicines, man-made religions. You know, you're going to start seeing people falling out. You're going to start seeing a lot of these preachers, they're going to, you know, drop dead for propagating unnatural spiritual systems, right? Man-made concepts propagated by mankind, because mankind, who is the beast, you know, controls their system, you know, through religion, and religion is acclimated to the law. So you got man-made law, you know, you got man-made religions, and they propagate the Bible through law, and mankind is basically the personification of the devil. So that means that, you know, you have a book that's not even sacred in your law system, because you know it's not sacred, because, you know, it's not dealing with the inception of the ancient Semitic context, right? So that's what makes the, you know, the book not a holy book. So if you propagate an unholy book in your system, that makes you a devil, right? So now, like I said, everything man-made has to go. So you're gonna see just how you see those preachers. I mean, you see a lot of those animals, and you got people taking these, you know, these diabolical inoculation shots, They're going to be falling dead just like those animals is too, right? Just give it time. Because anything that's unnatural, anything that's low vibrational is not going to be able to take up on the photon-like spectrum, right? You have to be a neuromelanated man. You have to understand the dynamics of vitamin D, where the word vitality, Amun Ra. Ra is the sun, because to where you can take up on that high vibrational energy of the sun. And you got people who is not conducive to the sun, mankind creating, you know, man-made religions. So like I said, you got John Smith, who created the Baptist religion in 1608. You got Charles Parham, created the Pentecostal religion in 1901. Then you got Joseph Smith, who was a 33rd degree Mason, who was brought forth by the Rothschilds. He created the Mormons religion in 1830. Then you got Charles T. Russell, who created the Jehovah's Witness religion in 1872. Then you got William Miller, who created the Seventh-day Evangelist in religion in 1863. So like I said, everything unnatural to the planet has to go. So like I said, you propagating unnatural science, unnatural history, unnatural education system, unnatural dietary system. Everything has to go because it doesn't thrive on a solar government. You know what I'm saying? The purification period of the lunar doctrine has phased out, right? So we're going back to the inception of the matriarchy. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Rod Hayes. And when you're talking about we're going back to Big Mama's house. You know what I'm saying? You know, so this is real. So now, I didn't mean to do that. So like I said, everything unnatural to the planet has to go. Everything unnatural has to go. So now when you're talking about the fake religion, we got that out the way. Now when you're talking about, where's she at? Right? We talking about everything tonight. So now when you're talking about the red horse, right? This is basically the symbology of the second seal, right? Because everything on the planet, this is basically, like she said right there, Beyonce turns up the heat. This is the Aquarian Age. So a lot, like I said, everything unnatural has to go. You know what I'm saying? The heat is burning everything that's unnatural to the planet. Is getting, you know what I'm saying? Everything's being eradicated, basically. So now I'm going to show you some stuff about the red horse here. Like I said, everything unnatural to the planet has to go, right? So like I said, the red color of horse is a symbol of blood, and it's a symbol of war. Time is clear and prophesied by Christ. Even though I'm propagating, you know, biblical context, you know, there's truth in, you know, the Bible is basically a Freemasonic playbook for mankind. You know what I'm saying? It's mixed with truth and lies, which makes it a Luciferian society. So, you know, there's a little bit of gems, you know what I'm saying, in the Bible, but a lot of people don't understand the Bible. They don't comprehend the Bible because they read it like a children's book, because people have the minds of children. So they tell you, you know, in increments about what's going to happen, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to prophetic events, especially in the book of Revelations, because the book of Revelations was a book that was added. It wasn't naturally, you know, it wasn't connected to the Bible at one point in time. So when you're talking about the second seal and red horse in Revelation 6, 3, and 4, right? Like I said, this is the seal. Yes, a symbol of blood, and the sword, symbol of war. What is the war? Nature. Nature is eradicating everything that's unnatural. That's the war. This is a spiritual war. This is a metaphysical war, right? So like I said, this is the great sword, and the great sword separates things. This is the great separation. The unnatural from the natural, the prokaryotic cell from the eukaryotic cell. You have to have the blood of the sun and the consciousness of the universe in order to survive the Great Awakening, right? So now, when you look at it from that perspective, like I said, everything unnatural to the planet has to go. Because like I said, this is the purification period of their power. They lost their power. The queen is no longer in Buckingham Palace. The seal is off the gate. Because like I said, we were returning to a matriarchy. The seal is off the gate. These are unnatural, governments that's acclimated to the United States corporation. Because like I said, when you understand the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, the Pledge of Allegiance, it doesn't say to the democracy, it says to the republic, because the inception of republic, it came from the Moors. Shout out to all the Moors. The inception of a republic came from the Moors. In a republic, it's galvanized by a matriarchal system. It's a matrilineal system, right? So now when you look at it from that perspective, you also had Donald Trump. He signed the Second Declaration of Independence, basically, usurping the power from the Democratic agenda, because it's by universal law that they got to do this. Because the Second Declaration of Independence only applies to those who are natural to the planet, which connects you to the Indigenous People Act, because the Indigenous People Act is connected to Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So don't ask for civil rights, ask for human rights, because civil rights keeps you connected to the conglomerate corporations that's connected to the 14th Amendment, which is a fraudulent contract. So you got to read the federal laws and civil procedures. There's a difference between a 14th Amendment citizen and a 9th Amendment citizen. All these unnatural concepts have to go. So that's what the Second Declaration of Independence was signed by Donald Trump on July 4th, 2020, right? So now you got the Vatican. I'm gonna show you this video. You got the Vatican. The Pope is not even in the Vatican. And I'm gonna show you the reality of that right now.
Hey guys, live here at the Vatican. We just happened to be here today on a family vacation when we just read that news broke about this Pope Francis, possibly getting ready to resign, unconfirmed. But I'll tell you, inside the Vatican moments ago, we saw a ton of cardinals, which our guide tells us is highly unusual. They're not used to seeing that. That's not normal. And moments earlier, when we were in the Sistine Chapel, a priest or a bishop unclear came in and gave us a blessing. Also highly unusual. What was he doing there? Why was he doing that? What did he know? But there's a lot of buzz going on right here. So news as we get it.
So like I said, why you think they doing this? Because like I said, the Euphostruct system of the Vatican Church is connected to the conglomerate corporations on Wall Street. Now, when you understand the reality of that, right, that basically means that, the corporation in itself has to fall. You know what I'm saying? This is the fall of Babylon. This is the fall of the United States corporation. This is the fall of the Roman occupation, right? The fall of the cult of Edom, the cult of Canaan. This is the fall. This is all prophetic because, like I said, the sun is separating everything. This is the age of Aquarius. This is the age, this is the Great Awakening, right? Because now, like I said, you had 3,800 fiat currencies, that failed. So just about every fiat currency in history collapsed. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at the fall of a corporation right before your eyes. And a lot of people, are not able to internalize this information because they're not seeing the signs and symbols. So now when you look at it from that perspective, like I said, in order to try to revamp a system, you have to have pestilence, because that's the only thing that can revitalize the economy, but they're not going to be able to do it this time because you're going to have another shutdown. I'm going to show you this video.
For a vaccine, at least this year, we do need more money, but we don't just need more money for vaccines for children eventually. We need more money to plan for the second pandemic. There's going to be another pandemic. We have to think ahead. And that's not something the last outfit did very well. That's something we've been doing fairly well. That's why we need the money. Thank you all. At least this year. We
see what I'm saying? Bro, like, you got to read between the lines, dog. You got to read between the lines. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to start reading between the lines. He's not even in the White House. He's been speaking at Castle Rock Studios. He's not even the goddamn president. You know what I'm saying? He's basically the agent of service for White House Incorporated, White House Office Incorporated. You don't even have a goddamn president. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have anybody, ruling these systems, that means the dollar is going to collapse. So you got all these niggas out here talking about, oh, you invest in, invest in some Bitcoin and do some real estate. What good is your money when the grid goes down? Because, you know what I'm saying, you can't even tell the difference between magnetic north and magnetic south. What you going to do when the grid goes down? You don't have any type of survival skills. You don't have the ability to revert back to minimalism. But you up here talking about some goddamn money. The money hasn't been backed by a natural resource since 1934, right? So now what I'm going to show you is also in about 4 to 6 weeks from now, the diesel fuel companies, they're going to run out of, diesel fuel because America runs on this trucking system. So that's going to put, a lot of importing and exporting for distribution centers. They're not going to be able to get out their product, right? So like I said, that in itself is basically in alignment to the fact that the economy is going to eventually shut down. So then, with all that being said, man, that is basically a brief synopsis of everything I had to talk about today. You know what I'm saying? This is basically the fall of a corporation, the fall of the cabal. You know what I'm saying? Everything unnatural to the planet has to go. You know what I'm saying? This is basically a prophetic events that's taking place on the planet. You got to deviate from the unnatural. You got to deviate from the unnatural and acclimate yourself to the natural teachings of the ancestors. So like I said, man, you got a lot of people who don't understand the dynamics of, what's going on. Because you got these democratic, liberalistic, Luciferian, Reddit, type of motherfuckers talking about some goddamn global warming when they don't understand that global warming means that nature is fighting back. And your biological anatomy is conducive to nature. So why are you talking about global warming? Global warming is it's conducive to you. That means nature is fighting for you. So like I said, this is a metaphysical war. This is a spiritual war, right? So with all that shit being said, share this video. Thanks for watching. This is a very important video. Internalize this information, use it for utility, get the information out there. I'm back on Twitter. Add me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at BDL BDL 2_1014. Or you can just type in BDL, I'll come up. And also follow me on Instagram. Like I said, get the information out there, share this video, get it all around the world. Thanks for watching.